Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is it. This is the big one.
Is it?
Manchester United facing the mighty Brentford in the Premier League.
Sure.
It would be a mid-table clash if we were a bit higher. They're mid-table, we're not quite.
It's a table clash.
Yeah, it's a table clash. Joining me as always is Mr. Joe Smith.
Yes.
Joe.
Yeah.
We're both buzzing. We've both lost our voices. Manchester United have just beaten Athletic Club in Bilbao 3-0. We're shockingly bad in the Premier League.
Yeah.
We're not going to get relegated.
No.
We're not going to get anywhere near a European place. And we've got 1 foot in the Europa League final.
Yeah.
If not 1 foot, maybe the toe of another foot as well.
Yeah. In the history of my life, this is one of the least relevant games of football I've ever seen Man United play in the league.
I agree. Isn't it mad we're in May?
Yeah. And
we've got games in league that literally have no real meaning other than pride and maybe a few more quid if you can get a position higher.
Yeah.
Like there's not much to this, but we are on a high after that win. Yeah. Epic win, great performance. Do you put much into the bit of the momentum thing? Because we keep calling about momentum and all the rest of it, and let's try and keep it going, but we never do. Every time we've had a big result, whether it's been at the Etihad or Anfield or at the Emirates or whatever, or in Europe, any of the results we've had in Europe, we seem to follow Lyon at Old Trafford. We follow it up, don't we, with a deflating result or the poor performance and usually defeat.
Yeah, I don't think... I've never seen this before. I think they used to do experiments in the 60s, or maybe even before that, where they would slice the two hemispheres of the brain, the connective tissue, they'd cut it to see how people acted if their two halves of the brain couldn't connect.
Right.
That's what we are. We've got the Premier League half of the brain and the Europa League half of the brain, and they are not remotely linked together by anything whatsoever. Right. We are undefeated in the Europa League. We're probably going to get to the final, and we have never been worse in the Premier League. It doesn't seem like the wins in the Europa help the Premier League. The losses in the Premier League affect the Europa League. I've never seen a more momentumless team than this. It doesn't. It's like, oh, one thing's happened. Oh, next thing. They don't even know that the last one's happened. I reckon we could play the exact same team that had played on Thursday in this game, and they won't be able to tell you what happened on Thursday. And they'll just play as poorly as they've done all season. It's almost unbelievable how unmomentumable this team is. Have you ever seen anything like it?
No, I haven't.
It's ridiculous.
We've always been, if we've been good in Europe, like people go, well, when we won the Europa League under Jose, we gave up on the league. We finished 6th.
Yeah.
We didn't finish 15th.
No.
We were still winning most of our Premier League games. It just, by the usual standards of the time at Manchester United, it wasn't great. But we were still sort of, a force to be reckoned with in the Premier League. This season in the Premier League, we have been shocking.
Yeah.
Completely shocking. And you're right. Me and Steve on his review after the Athletic game was saying about Casemiro, how Casemiro in the Premier League, I know he's been better in the Premier League, but he's not the player he's been in the Europa League. It's like Steve was making a point of, if we play Spurs in the Europa League final, you've got to make sure Casemiro knows it's the Europa League final. I don't think it's the Premier League.
I don't know what will happen there. I think the universe is collide, because those two halves of the brain will try to touch each other again. And I think everything might just implode.
The world ends.
Yeah, this game, we are on a high, as the graphic says there, but I don't see that translating into the performance whatsoever.
I think, you always want your team to win. I'm sick of seeing defeats. I'm embarrassed by where we are in the league, but we have to be realistic about it. It just keeps happening at United this season. And also Brentford, who I'm going to get to a little bit later, are a decent team. They've just got a big result at the City Ground, I think. It was away when at Forest, they won 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0.
So they've had a good result there. But we'll get into them in a minute. I suppose the main sort of issue with this game is you don't want anyone important getting injured.
Yeah.
You want your best players available for that second leg in the Europa, and more importantly, the final, where it does feel like we're going to be there. I mean, it's weird, isn't it, that we're here going, we're going to rest players, or we might rest players for this game, not because we're doing so well in the league, but because the league's just got out to offer.
Yeah, like I said, that we have to take the situation for what it is. Like, what was it, last week when Højlund did his post about not the result we wanted, but I needed that. I think he would have got a lot more stick than that if it wasn't this unique case of the league just not mattering and the Europa League being the only thing that matters. Like, if we drop points or lose the game, that's one thing. But if we get an injury, that is way worse. Even like, a sort of a peripheral player, if Mason Mount or Luke Shaw gets injured, someone who's coming back, I would be gutted. because we need a fully fit side for that second leg, and again, like I said, hopefully the final. That to me is almost more important than the result and the performance here, which I can't even believe I'm saying when you think of what we've seen as United fans in our lifetimes. The idea that losing to Brentford but not getting any injuries would almost be worth it is unthinkable, but I'm not even that far off that, to be honest. It's crazy.
I know. It is mad what is going on at Manchester United in the Premier League this season. It's been something I never ever want to experience again. It's annoyed me a lot because even when I know City have obviously been relegated there, but even when Liverpool were having their Roy Hodgson season, they weren't this bad. Arsenal, I don't remember Arsenal sort of battling relegation or being near relegation. I know we've not been battling it. It's just annoying how bad United have been. But we could still end on a high. We could still end with a trophy. We could still end with Champions League football, which would be
carnage.
Hilarious. That would be the funniest thing ever, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
With all that being said, let's talk about predicted 11s. Just before I say that though, get your phones out. I haven't got my phone.
I've got mine.
Well, come on then, help me out. Get your phone out, film it in landscape like that, yeah?
This is what he thinks it is.
And send it to paddockmatchday@gmail.com. That's a 30-second score prediction. Send it to paddockmatchday@gmail.com.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you want to see my team?
Yeah, go on.
It's beautiful. We've got Onana in goal.
You.
I've made a lot of changes.
Right.
But I've not completely lost it. I think Amas should play. I thought he looked really good against Wolves, as did Fredrickson. Bring them both in for that same reason.
I agree completely.
I think he seems to keep resting and subbing Maguire, so that leads me to believe we might hear that he's got a knock or a twinge or an ongoing bit of pain that we're not hearing about. Yeah. I don't think he'll play. So I think Lindelof will play. Mazraoui plays every game, which is mad because I don't think he's played this many games in his whole career. He's over 50 this season now.
Yeah.
And again, Dorgu, some of the first teamers have to play. I think we'll see Mainu. Casemiro is the only one for me where I'm not too sure, but again, Ugarte is another one he tends to bring off every week. So that suggests to me that there's either fitness or potentially an injury issue there. So I've gone with Mainu and Casemiro. Then I've got Mount and Eriksen in behind Cheeto. Mount's ready to start a game now, surely. He's been back in the squad for pushing 2 months, I think, now. He's not started a game yet. Get him in and give Cheeto some minutes as well. I don't want to give up this game by any means. I think there's enough of a team there to put up a fight. But Bruno cannot get injured. I think Garnacho is crucial as well. Højlund is our only first-team striker. He can't get injured. There's certain players we just have to put in bubble wrap for this game and for the Europa League. And I think that, in particular, Bruno and Højlund for me shouldn't start.
I understand your point of view.
Yeah.
It's not the most ridiculous thing I've heard, and you might well be right. I'm slightly different though. I've gone with a similar sort of theory when it comes to the defence.
Yeah.
So at wing back, I've brought in Harry Amas. Dorgu keeps his place just because of the lack of other options. Shaw, who obviously came on the other night, he can come into that defence. De Ligt, who came on the other night. CV's maybe I think he might get a start in this game and maybe get taken off after an hour or something. Yeah. Fredrickson coming back on, I agree with everything you said. I've gone with Bruno and Mainu. I think Bruno starts. He don't get injured. I just think he's one of them. Do you know what I mean? He's just
But he did rest him last time, didn't he?
He did. But I think after the game he said he and then it's that whole thing that you rest him, then you bring him on and he's just running around like a lunatic. It was
he's coming on, isn't he?
Yeah, it's I'd almost like him if he rested him and just didn't have him in the squad, even though we need him.
Yeah.
Actually give him proper rest. But Bruno's one of them players. He wants to play, doesn't he? He always does. So I don't know. It could go either way. I think he might play him. I think Kobe Mainu will be brought in because he had a cameo in the other night. I agree with what you said about your guy. Garnacho just keeps getting played. I think he might end up getting played again. I thought he might come off the bench against Athletic Club. I was wrong. Mount, I agree, he needs to start. Yeah. I think Højlund might start just because he's had a couple of decent games. He's had a goal, he's had a game where he's been involved in goals. I think he might want to just sort of, whilst he's sort of played him out of this bad form, or he's trying to play him out of this bad form, and now he's getting his mojo back a bit, I think he might just say, right, let's keep going. Let's keep you going and just sort of, now you've been involved in it, you've got a goal, you've been involved in goals, let's see if you can just sort of ride this little wave. I know it's not been amazing, but it's been better. Yeah. So I just wonder whether he might do that. I'm edging towards that theory rather than your Cheeto one, even though I wouldn't be disappointed to see Cheeto be starting. I think he's a fantastic young footballer. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know what you think of mine and Joe's predictions. Do you agree? Do you disagree with either of us? Let's talk about Brentford.
Yeah. 10 points above us in the league, Jay.
Yeah.
Which is mad, isn't it? Again, Brentford.
Fucking embarrassing.
There's a handful of teams in the league who, in my head, you don't even think of them as sort of Premier League teams. I know that's really disrespectful, and they're here by merit and they're better than we are. Yeah. But like the fact that Brighton, Bournemouth, Brentford, even Fulham, they're a sort of up and down kind of team in my mind. They're all not just above us, but comfortably better than us. Easily better than us. Is tragic, really, isn't it? Yeah. It's absolutely tragic. And you look at some of the numbers of their players. Brian and Mbeumo and Wissa have got, 35 goals between them this season, 18 and 17 respectively. 6 assists for Mbeumo as well, who I think is, I agree with Ronaldo. That's on the cusp of being a top player.
Fucking mental.
Yeah.
Right? That's like York and Cole numbers.
I know.
Like, they basically, between them, they get a goal every game.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking nuts.
One of them two is scoring pretty much every game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how's that happened?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to because I like both of them players, but you can't just ignore that or normalise it. That's fucking mint.
Yeah, it is.
And it's like, they're doing it at a club that's 11th or whatever, and obviously has a sort of a much lower budget. And Brentford do have something to play for. They can still get... I think there's permutations. It's like if City win the FA Cup and finish in the top 7, 8th will get Conference League, and Brentford are 2 points off Fulham in 8th. So they have a real reason to not just to beat United, and obviously it's a big scalp for them still, but also to get into Europe and have some European football next season.
Absolutely,
so
that'd be big for them. Massive.
There's every reason to think United can get another fucking battering off them.
And as we go into score predictions, unfortunately, I'm going to predict just that. We got pummeled by them. I don't know whether it was last season, the season before. It feels like every time we play them, they're the exact sort of team we're not very good against. High pressing, physical, athletic side, tactically well drilled, and we see their real quality in the likes of Norgard as well, with 10 assists. We didn't even mention him, Damsgaard. And Mbeumo, Wissa, Damsgaard. I think we're going to, one of them two is going to get a goal, as you've said, mathematically. I think we'll probably lose quite comfortably. I'm going to say 2-0.
Yeah.
Apologies.
I hear you. And I just feel like you're right.
Yeah.
I think I hate saying it, but they've got something to play for in the league. They're playing well. They're doing well in the Premier League. We're not. I'll go 3-2. I think we might, because we've mixed up. There's players that might want to have something to prove and, get amongst the goals. I know we don't score many, but I still think Brentford will win. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know what you think. I don't like predicting losses, but you've got to be honest. Yeah. It's all about the Europa League. Don't forget to send in your score predictions to paddockmatchday@gmail.com. Go and check out Joe Smith on the Sloppy Joe's podcast. You know where to find me. That's been Joe. I've been Jay. This has been a preview for Manchester United's trip to Brentford. Thanks for watching.